On the imperial world of Aurelian Prime, birthdays were once marked by planetary parades and skies filled with living constellations of fire. For 10,000 years, the Dragon Empress had ruled from the celestial spire, her wings casting shadows over empires, her voice ending wars before they began. But on this cycle, there were no parades, no fire in the sky, only silence, broken by the soft hum of antigrave stabilizers beneath a wheelchair forged from star steel. Empress Velithra, the eternal, last true Dragon Empress of the Stellar Concord, sat alone in the highest balcony of the spire, overlooking a city that no longer looked up. Her wings were folded tight, scarred and withered. Once vast enough to eclipse moons, they now twitched uselessly, nerves severed during the War of Fracture. Her scales still shimmered faintly with royal auric patterns, but the brilliance had dimmed with age and loss. Today was her birthday. The court calendar still marked it as Imperial Remembrance Day, but no one came anymore. The nobles had withdrawn centuries ago, when the Empress could no longer fly at the head of fleets. The dragon houses fractured. The Concord restructured itself around councils and committees. Velithra had been politely sidelined. Not dethroned. Never that. Just forgotten. She gazed at the small cake placed on the balcony table by a nervous palace automaton. One candle burned, its flame flickering weakly against the high-altitude wind. 1,000 years, Velithra murmured, voice deep and melodic despite the fatigue. And this is what remains. Far below, a service shuttle approached the spire's lower platforms, unremarkable, scratched, civilian-marked. Inside it was Elias Rowan, a human mechanic with grease permanently embedded under his fingernails, and his 8-year-old daughter Myra, who pressed her face against the viewport. "Dad," Myra said softly. "That's the Dragon Palace, right?" Elias nodded. "Yeah. Biggest structure ever built without humans blowing something up halfway through." Myra giggled. They weren't tourists. Elias had been contracted to repair a failing stabilizer ring in the spire's ancient support systems, tech so old that no one else wanted the job. That was usually when humans got called. "Remember," Elias said, kneeling to meet Myra's eyes. "We're just here to fix something and leave. No wandering." Myra nodded dutifully, then paused. "Why is the palace so quiet?" Elias didn't answer right away. "Because legends don't make noise when they're alone," he thought. A queen without a court. Velithra sensed the human before she saw him. Humans had a way of disturbing ancient places, not through arrogance, but presence. Elias moved through the spire's inner corridors with respectful care, following maintenance beacons, Myra holding his hand and humming softly. When the stabilizer panel refused to respond, Elias cursed under his breath. "This system predates half the galaxy," he muttered. "No wonder it's cranky." A shadow fell over him. Not threatening, just immense. Elias turned slowly. The Dragon Empress regarded him from her wheelchair, eyes like molten amber softened by centuries of grief. Myra gasped, but didn't hide. "You are very shiny," Myra said honestly. Velithra blinked. Then, astonishingly, she laughed, a low, surprised sound that echoed through the chamber. "I once incinerated a war moon for calling me that," the Empress said. "But I find I do not mind it today." Elias swallowed. "Your Majesty, I didn't know you still lived here." "Few do," Velithra replied. Her gaze shifted to Myra. "And who is this brave hatchling?" "I'm Myra," she said proudly. "It's your birthday." The words hung in the air. Velithra's claws tightened on the wheelchair's armrests. "So the calendars still remember, even if the stars do not." Myra frowned. Where's your family? Silence answered. Elias felt something twist in his chest. Myra, he said gently, that's not. They are gone, Velithra said calmly. Some to war, some to time, some to betrayal. She looked out toward the balcony. Dragons are not meant to outlive everyone they love. Myra thought for a moment, then climbed onto a nearby bench to be eye level with the Empress. That's dumb, she said. Elias winced. Velithra stared. Then she smiled, small, sad, and genuine. Perhaps, the Empress said, it is. The birthday no one expected. The stabilizer repair took longer than expected. Ancient conduits had fused. Energy channels needed manual recalibration. Elias worked for hours, Myra handing him tools like a practice assistant. Velithra watched quietly, intrigued by the human's patience. You could have demanded palace drones, Velithra said. Elias shrugged. Machines don't notice when something feels wrong. Humans do. When the work was done, Elias wiped his hands and checked the time. We should go, he said softly. It's late. Myra hesitated. She looked at the small cake on the balcony. Dad, she's alone. Elias met Velithra's eyes. For the first time, he saw not a god, but a ruler who had outlived her purpose. He cleared his throat. Your Majesty, this might be inappropriate, but… Can we stay? Myra blurted. The words echoed louder than any declaration of war ever had. Velithra stared at them both. Why? She asked quietly. Elias answered honestly. Because no one should spend their birthday alone. Not even emperors. Especially not them. For a long moment, the Dragon Empress said nothing. Then she gestured toward the table. Sit, she said. If you wish to share exile with an old dragon. Myra cheered. They lit the candle together. Myra insisted Velithra make a wish. I have made wishes for millennia, the Empress said softly. None came true. Try a small one, Myra suggested. They work better. Velithra closed her eyes. And wished, for the first time in centuries, not for power or restoration, but for company. Ending, a new kind of court. Word spread faster than hyperspace. Not of a Dragon Empress reclaiming her throne, but of a human mechanic and his daughter having dinner with her. Hollow feeds showed Myra sitting on Velithra's lap, reading from a battered storybook. Elias argued with Palace AIS over insulation efficiency. Laughter echoed through the spire for the first time in generations. The Concord panicked. Advisors arrived. Nobles sent messages. Committees debated optics. Velithra ignored them all. Instead, she issued a single decree. The celestial spire shall no longer be a monument to what was. Her voice boomed across the relay. It shall be a home. And this human family is under my personal protection. Elias nearly dropped his datapad. I didn't sign up for politics, he muttered. You signed up for compassion, Velithra replied. That is rarer. Over the following months, changes rippled outward. Engineers, human and otherwise, returned to the spire. Old systems were repaired. Young dragons, long scattered, began to visit, not out of duty, but curiosity. Velithra never flew again. But she ruled once more. Not from the skies. From a wheelchair at the center of a living, breathing court. Myra began calling her Grandma Flame. And on the next birthday, the skies of Aurelian Prime burned bright once more, not with warfire, but celebration. The galaxy learned something quietly that year. That strength is not measured by wings or thrones. And that sometimes, The greatest act of humanity is simply asking, can we stay?